Shalom, friends. Akiva here from Israel in 5, and I want to invite you personally to join me for a longer presentation taking place on Sunday, June 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time in honor of the upcoming holiday of Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks. Go to israel5.org/tour to register for free or click on the link in the description. In this presentation, we are going to explore the biblical story behind the holiday of Shavuot, which celebrates the receiving of the Torah by the children of Israel on Mount Sinai. We'll also look at the modern day cultural celebration of Shavuot in the modern day Jewish state. And we'll also learn about the connection between this holiday and the 7 species through which the land of Israel is most known and blessed. It's going to be an exciting presentation. Definitely don't want to miss it. Please join me. Again, go to israel5.org/tour or click on the link in the description. Sunday, June 9th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Can't wait to see you there. All the best and be well. The Torah tells us that the patriarch Jacob buried his wife Rachel on the side of the road instead of in Hebron, where the rest of the patriarchs were buried. Why is that? Shalom, my friends. This is the Akiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. So the Torah tells us that Jacob was traveling with his family. Rachel gives birth. She dies in childbirth. And instead of bringing her to Hebron, which wasn't that far away, where the rest of the patriarchs and matriarchs were buried, and he would be buried as well, he buries her on the side of the road as they're in an area called Ephrat, which the Torah tells us is Bethlehem, Bethlehem. Now, why would he bury her in the middle of nowhere on the side of the road? Now, the main answer to that story is that he knew prophetically that in the future, on that same path, the Israelites would be going out into the first exile, being exiled by the Babylonians. And on that road, they would be walking away from the land, out of the land for the first time, into exile, into the unknown, with all of the emotions and pain that comes along with that. And that Rachel's grave would be there, and that Rachel would come out, so to speak, and she would comfort her children, giving them the strength and the belief, the faith, to believe that this isn't the end of the story, that one day they will return home, they will overcome this as well. And so he kind of spiritually, strategically buried her there, placed her grave there for the benefit of future generations of the Jewish people. Now, again, the Torah tells us that the name of this area was Ephrat, which is the same as Bethlehem. And we know today, just south of Jerusalem is the city of Bethlehem with all of its history. And just south of there is a town called Ephrat, in an area called Gush Etzion, which was established already before the creation of the state of Israel in 1948. There were a few communities that were built, Jews living there, living on the land, and they were kicked out. They were attacked by Arab forces in the War of Independence. The women and the children left earlier, and the men were either slaughtered or captured. And those 4 communities were destroyed. And Jews wouldn't return to that area of Ephrat until after 1967, after the Six-Day War, when Israel took control over that entire area, including the entire area of Judea and Samaria. And one of the first things that takes place after that incredible, miraculous victory of the Six-Day War is that Jewish communities are getting built on that same exact land where they lived once before. And eventually, one of those communities that will be built, is Ephrat. And today, Ephrat is a modern Jewish community in this area of Gush Etzion, just south of Jerusalem, named after, of course, this place mentioned in the Torah in conjunction with the story of Rachel's death and burial. And just north of Ephrat, right, you have the city of Bethlehem. Now, it's an Arab city, right? But Rachel's grave is there. And for most of its history, it literally was in the middle of nowhere along the road. For many, many centuries, if not over 1,000 years, what marked Rachel's grave were just pillars and a dome over it. And in the mid-1800s, a very wealthy Jew from Europe, Sir Moses Montefiore, who gave a lot to the rebuilding, the resettling of the land of Israel by Jews, he built onto this, and he built walls around or between the pillars to make it a proper building, and he extended the building for an area that people can come and congregate and sit and pray. Because the tomb of Rachel is a very, very powerful place for people to pray in general, especially for women, and especially for women who are either pregnant and want to have a safe childbirth, right, as she died in her childbirth, or who are having trouble getting pregnant, and they are looking for God's blessing, asking for God's blessing to get pregnant. It's a very, very powerful place spiritually, and it's a very popular place for people to come to pray. It's just outside of Jerusalem, literally a few minutes. But what happened in recent decades is that one, Bethlehem expanded, and instead of being outside of Bethlehem on the road, it basically got surrounded by the city of Bethlehem. And because of the security situation there and the danger that existed there for Jews to go to Bethlehem, to go to the grave of Rachel, already starting in the 1980s and 90s, the Israeli government eventually built what equals a fortress around the grave of Rachel. You don't have to go into Bethlehem anymore in order to access it. There's this own access route, and when you drive through there, there's literally concrete walls on either side, guard towers. You literally feel like you're walking into or driving into a mini army base. But at the end of that road, you get to the grave of Rachel, you enter into there, and you forget about all of these security and political issues and problems, and you go there for spiritual reasons, and you pray, and you open up your heart. And this is one of the most important graves in all of the land of Israel today. And it's still protected, and it's still there. It's still available and accessible for Jews to come every single day, to pour out their hearts and to connect to their roots and to their history through the story of Rachel, one of our matriarchs.